Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Arrow episode 13 video. Everybody give a hand to John Barrowman for an amazing performance. Careful for spoilers if you haven't seen the episode. There were some great WTFs. There is a new round of the reverse flash ring giveaway going on too. It's going to stay open until I post my Legends of Tomorrow video tomorrow. So let's start with top 5 WTF, and I'll try to work through Easter eggs as we go along. There were a lot of internal Easter eggs, things that they referenced that happened in previous seasons. The title of the episode, Sins of the Father, was mostly about Merlin's sins, but it was also about Ra's al Ghul, about Nissa's father's sins, that Ra's al Ghul, and Felicity's father's sins. But it goes beyond that. Usually episode titles are meant to be really meta, so you could take a bunch of different meanings. But number 5 WTF, Calculator meets with Felicity, tries to make amends. Even if you don't know anything about him in the comics, they actually played this in a very real world way. They played this like a totally normal family that had been broken and like the dad shows up after 18 years. The highest level of comic book that Felicity's arc achieved was when they were talking about Palmer Tech. They were talking about little devices, like the data extraction device the Calculator left inside Palmer Tech. Felicity's like, yeah, he failed my test hardcore. The great thing about Calculator in this episode, and I love the way that he played it, the actor that plays Calculator, you probably remember him from some other Berlanti series like Everwood, is that he seems really genuine. He's not lying about how he cares about Felicity, but he's a total villain through and through. Just like Malcolm in this episode, John Barrowman as Merlin blurred the lines a little bit better, I think, but he swung to number 4 WTF, double-crossing Nyssa, booming villain Darth Vader voice. This is fun John Barrowman. He's definitely having fun in this episode. Merlin's been pretty subdued this season. I mean, he did scoop up Vandal Savage's ashes, so he's still got those somewhere. But John Barrowman is this great theater actor, and usually that involves acting in a much bigger way because you're actually playing to live people in an audience instead of just a camera with microphones. So the best comic book Merlin scenes, like when he goes into comic book villain territory, are scenes like this, when he gets to be way over the top, when he gets to be batshit crazy. Number 3 WTF, open league war in the streets. Does this not remind you of season 3 when Oliver came back and they had that big fight with Brick's gang in the middle of the street? I like the way they did it this season better. It was a little bit smaller. There were a fewer number of extras, so the camera was able to get in a little bit closer. You saw a bunch of randos getting dropped by arrows, like just stepping out of the alley. Oh my god! People trying to eat their dinner as Team Arrow weaves through them, knocks Nyssa out, takes her, puts her in a cage, just like last year. She was talking about season 3 when she came to assassinate Merlin because she thought that he was the one to kill Sarah. Thea went to visit her, gave her the sword, and was like, please kill me. I need to pay for what I did for killing Sarah, because Thea did kill Sarah. This is where Laurel comes in. She had a great arc in this episode. She tries to explain to Nyssa that she's not bound by the rules of her father, the League of Assassins. She can do whatever she wants. She's completely free. And I like the way they say, your father is dead. But we're actually going to see the Matt Nable Ra's al Ghul on Legends of Tomorrow. I don't know which episode it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. So yeah, he's dead in present day, but he will come back somehow. I'm assuming it's going to be when they go to the past. Like we saw Damien Dark in the past. We'll see Ra's al Ghul. I just don't know which era it's going to be in. Number 2 WTF, Oliver versus Merlin, round 2 on the roof. This is a direct continuation of their fight from the season 1 finale. If you remember, they had this awesome fight at the end of that season. Oliver was so pissed, like he found out that Merlin was a Dark Archer responsible for the undertaking, so he was going to make Merlin pay, but he got away, so their fight went unfinished. So you could think of this episode as being like Sins of the Father, but also unfinished business. Thing is though, he chops his hand off. I actually thought that he was going to have to kill him, but I didn't think that John Barrowman would die. I thought they would find some other solution because John Barrowman is listed on all the other episodes for the rest of the season on IMDb. Sometimes that doesn't always play out. Sometimes there's false information on IMDb, but I didn't think they'd kill Nyssa, and I didn't think they'd kill Merlin off. Matter settled. Although now Merlin has unfinished business with Oliver. He's like, I'm not going to kill you because that would be mercy compared to what I'm going to do to you now. This is where Merlin is going to get really fun. John Barrowman is going to have so much fun doing all these crazy Merlin scenes now. Crazy Merlin is so much better than Thea's dad Merlin. I mean, I love the dad scenes that he has with Thea, but I feel like that will slowly come to a close. Like Felicity kicks her father to the curb, I feel like Thea's gonna do that eventually too. People do not change, even though Oliver's really optimistic about that. He's like, I like to believe that some of us can change. But just as a funny sidebar, how awesome was it that Nyssa kept referring to Oliver as her husband? By league standards, I'm your husband, so I asked to fight for you. So I guess Nyssa is like his work wife and Felicity is his home wife. Who knows how they figure that out. But if you are wondering, yeah, so Nyssa is still married to Oliver. They never consummated the marriage. I don't really know what the particulars of that are and why they've chosen to stay married. Maybe it's just because there is no such thing as divorce in the league. Like there's no way to accomplish that until one of you dies. But finally, number 1 WTF. Nyssa burns her father's ring, the Ring of the Wraith, and releases all the assassins. Merlin vows revenge by telling Damien Darhk about Oliver's son. So you're left in this really WTF confusing situation where you're like, wait a minute, did they just kill the League of Assassins? If they've disbanded and there's no mark of leadership, then do they still exist? It's like, WTF, what's going to happen? I don't think that's going to stick. I think there will always be a League of Assassins. They'll just choose to address it in some roundabout way in the future. I think they just want to take that crutch away from Oliver. Merlin was in control of the League. Merlin wanted to help Thea, so Merlin could always bring the League in if necessary. But now they can't do that anymore. There's no League to ride in and help them with Hive. And on top of that, now that Merlin seems like he's parlaying with Damien Darhk, it seems like Merlin's earlier comment to Oliver about laying his bow, if Damien Darhk asked you to lay your bow down to save your son, William, would you do it? Oliver's like, WTF face, oh my god, how did you know about my son? I will say right off the bat, I do not think that his son is the one that's in the grave. First off, we barely gotten any exposure to him. His son is like this little plot point way off in the distance. It's just more misdirection. I feel like the whole point of this episode in this arc with Thea wasn't to undo what happened in Season 3, because Season 3 was the battle for Thea, so I knew that she wasn't going to die. So it's almost like the writers have restored Merlin to his villain self. Everyone else in the episode seems relatively unchanged psychologically. Felicity, Oliver, Nyssa, they didn't change their alignment. None of them changed their relationships. Merlin's the only one who flipped, so I'm looking forward to very fun things from Merlin's character. But Damien Darhk is the real focus for the back half of the season. They said they're redoubling, just like The Flash is doubling down on its Zoom plot in the back half, they're going to do the same thing on Arrow with Damien Darhk. That means we're going to learn what they're trying to do with this mystery crop, what this mystery device Damien Darhk has, what this new beginning is that he's been teasing. Let me know in the comments though, what was your favorite moment from the episode, and what do you think about one-handed Merlin? I feel like they were doing the Star Wars thing, where it's like, if he's going to be the Darth Vader of the series, we're going to have to cut one of his hands off. But it was actually a pretty good episode, especially compared to where we were last season around this time. And I know I promised to talk about Connor Hawke. We saw a teaser for him during The Flash last night. That's who that was, the Green Arrow of Another Earth. I don't know how they're going to explain it, because we're going to see him on Legends of Tomorrow, but it's going to be in Star City of the Future, Star City 2046. So Oliver's going to have one arm like he did during Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns comic book. It's going to be pretty badass, but it's not till Legends of Tomorrow episode 6, so there's a couple more weeks. And I guess I should mention, it's not really an Easter egg, but Felicity's mom mentioned Space Camp. They talked about Space Camp earlier this season. Felicity was like, how come I never got to go to Space Camp? And her mother explained what it was like to raise her as a single parent. Like, it was this really sad story. So I should also say the actress that plays Felicity's mom actually was great in this episode. She usually doesn't get that many scenes, and it's usually for comedy. She's usually really silly. Her telling Felicity, your dad is bad news, that was great. But I feel like most of the dads on Arrow, all around, even Quentin, not great dads. They all love their children. Quentin is a good guy, but he's so flawed. He's one of the better examples of tragic heroes. I feel like he or Diggle are going to be the one to end up in the grave. Quentin, Diggle, and Diggle's brother, currently, maybe Lila. So new episode of Legends tomorrow. While you guys wait for that, you can click here for last night's episode of The Flash, and you can click here to learn all about how the Suicide Squad movie pretty much killed Deathstroke on Arrow, Manu Bennett's version of Deathstroke. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody, let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.